The biggest and by all accounts best installment of the Final Destination series is upon us. Let's talk about Final Destination Bloodlines. Hey guys, Dan here. This is Dan Reviews It. Welcome to my spoiler-free review for the new Final Destination film, Bloodlines. This is in theaters now, and it is doing great business. In fact, opening weekend, it almost broke the record for highest gross of a Final Destination movie overall. I think the biggest is Final Destination 4. That made somewhere in the 63 million range in the U.S. Well, opening weekend for this one in the U.S. was 51 million. So right there, you're almost breaking the record. And so far, as of this recording, just in the U.S., it's made 110 million, more than doubling its budget, and worldwide it's made well over 200 million. So obviously this one is, a huge success box office wise, but not only that, critics and audiences are loving it as well. This has a 92% on Rotten Tomatoes with critics. I think it's 88% or something with audiences. And previous to this, the best of the series, I think, has something like a 61 or a 62% with critics. So this is a beloved installment, and we'll talk about the reasons why here in just a moment. First, though, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are a Dan Reviews It subscriber, thank you so much for that. Love having you guys return. But if you're not, please consider subscribing and click that notification bell so you get the alerts for all my new video drops. And of course, liking this video, commenting below, or sharing it on your socials helps people find my videos with the old YouTube algorithm. So I certainly appreciate those things as well. All right, so this is only the second of the franchise I have seen. I watched the first Final Destination movie, but only recently. I've been doing something in 2025 where I'm trying to watch a movie every single day, and so once a week I take an older movie that I've never seen on a big anniversary and check it out. And when I saw this was the 25th anniversary of the original Final Destination, I thought, well, that's great. We've got the new one coming out. I'm definitely going to check that out. So why don't we watch the first one? So I will, in the next week or two, have a long-form review up for the first Final Destination movie. So I'm not going to really talk too much about that in this one. But that's my only sort of go-to, and again, just recently. But I knew about some of the kills, obviously the logging truck thing, that's in the second one. I knew some of the famous kills from the series, but hadn't sat down to watch any of the full movies. So, look, this one starts in 1968, and it involves a family that we are not really familiar with. So if you've never seen any of the Final Destination movies, you don't need to. I mean, maybe if you want to, cool, get yourself prepared for it, but you don't need to. Now, there is a little bit of a through line with the character played by Tony Todd, and he actually just passed. This is his final movie. He was known for playing Candyman, and he was in, I don't know how many of the earlier installments, not too many, I don't think, but at least a couple of them, and he factors in to this one in a key scene, and it's a nice sort of farewell to him as an actor, with this movie. But we start here in the 60s, and the Skyview diner or hotel, I guess, has gone up, and this is akin to like the Seattle Space Needle. I don't know when that went up, but certainly I think this is sort of a play on that or an homage. And we have this gal named Iris, this stunning young woman who is about to be proposed to, but things go horribly awry, as they always do in the world of Final Destination. And so we flash to the present, when, as we learn, her granddaughter is having nightmares about things that may have happened there, some visions, and so she wants to track down what's going on and find out why she is seeing this, why she's involved with this, and we learn as we go. But I won't really say any more than that plot-wise, but it basically follows this family and their fate, let's say. And so, starring in the movie, we have Caitlin Santa Juana, who I'm unfamiliar with, but she was part of the final season of The Flash, which I did not watch. And she's done a couple other things in the horror realm, like more indie. And then you have Teo Briones, who is in the sci-fi series Chucky. So obviously some horror play there. But he was also in Pretty Little Liars. Didn't see that. And then you've got Richard Harmon, Owen Patrick Joyner, Breck Bassinger. So a lot of people, I really don't know. Sometimes that can be good for a horror movie like this. So you're not like, oh, there's that person. You can invest yourself, I think, or at least for me, a little more in the story with the family. So why is this such a greater success than all of the other ones? And again, I can only say from my own experience from the first one. But I think one of the reasons is that the storyline's really good. I think, look, we've certainly seen, a lot of cursed family movies or whatever, but the way that, the family dynamic is, I think works. And there's, some bait and switch here. You think maybe somebody's going to die from something and then they don't, or they die later from something else, or somebody else dies from the thing you thought this other person was going to die from. I think it's very sort of layered in the script in a way that we don't necessarily always get with horror movies. And this was co-written by Guy Busick. It was him and Laurie Evans Taylor. I'm not familiar with her, but Guy Busick worked on a lot of really good horror movies in the last like 5 years or so, including Ready or Not, the two recent Scream movies, Abigail, which I thought was decent, not amazing, but like Ready or Not is great. If you've not seen that, and they're doing another one too, Ready or Not, Here I Come, that should be out I think next year. That's a really really solid horror movie. It kind of came out of nowhere, didn't get a lot of talk, but it's a great movie, and so he was part of that writing team, and I think he's got a pretty unique eye on, and maybe this the co-writer Laurie Evans Taylor does as well. But this movie does not take itself too seriously, but it takes the kills pretty seriously, even when they're sort of more humorous kills, if that makes sense. But the movie takes the character seriously, even when it's being a little sort of cutesy with some of the things in the plot, or whatever. I was engaged in this, from the start. And look, I'm a huge fan of like the sort of retro stuff, and the futuristic look. So when we started in the 1960s, I was all on board. It was, this sort of futuristic kind of diner. I'm like, okay. I thought maybe the whole movie took place there, but it did not. But I was hooked right from that opening scene. It's a great sort of opening button there before the credits, and then we find out more about the family, and I was engrossed with all of them. Maybe the acting's not the best, and maybe there's some cliches with the kills and stuff. But like I said, sometimes there's these bait and switches that I think really worked. Yeah, this is definitely an enjoyable Final Destination film, a huge upgrade for me from the first one from 25 years ago. I guess at this point, maybe I should watch 2 through 5 to sort of really kind of gauge all of them. But I can see why this one is so beloved by critics and audiences alike. I think it gives the Final Destination fans things that they want, like these gory kills. But I think for critics, it gives us a plot and a family that we can get behind, and some things that maybe other horror franchises sort of forget about from time to time. So I leave Final Destination Bloodlines with a B plus, and you can check this out in theaters now, at least as of this recording, and probably pretty soon on demand as well. All right, thank you for watching Dave Reviews It, and I'll see you next time.